Dwayne, no.
Okay. Welcome back to the From the Fabricator podcast. I'm your host, Max Pearlstein. Thank you so much for joining me once again as we take another run through the glass and glazing industry. I appreciate everyone listening. This podcast continues to grow, and I am extremely humbled. Three wonderful guests, which I'll get to in a moment on this edition. Can't wait. But a big thanks to our sponsor of this episode, FHC. FHC is all in on GlassBuild, September 30th to October 2nd in Dallas to see the latest innovations in glass railing, all glass entrances, frameless shower doors, and glass and glazing tools designed to save glaziers time and money. There's one place to be, and that's at booth 45012 on the show floor, smack dab at the main entrance, FHC. You'll see product launches, hands-on demonstrations, surprises galore. Great folks there, and that booth is always busy, but they always have somebody there to take care of you. FHC booth 45012. Register now at glassbuild.com, and I'll give you their code. Use their code FHC. If you have not signed up yet, you can use FHC and get free admission on my friends from FHC. Thank you so much. All right, so today on this edition, three great guests. We kick it off with Diana San Diego from Safety First. She's amazing, great sales and marketing. Really a lot of good food for thought if you're a sales and marketing person. Then for the first time, I think I've ever really kind of dove into operations. I have Chris Cordle from US Bulletproofing, Quick Serve, the Specialty Fenestration Group. Really interesting guy. And I learned a lot about lean manufacturing, the way the operations work, advantages. He shared a lot of really interesting information, really sharp guy. And then I end with our good friend, Merv Campbell from Omni. Merv, everybody loves the accent, loves him. He is gregarious, he is happy, and he's all about safety and health and welfare with regards to handling the tools that he has created. So he comes up last today on this podcast. Check out all three, and I'll be back on the other side with my typical TV notes and wrap up. But let's get it started. Diana San Diego, here we go. Okay. Kicking things off this month, I'm thrilled to be joined by Diana San Diego, Vice President of Marketing from Safety First. You can find them online at safti.com. That's SAFTI.com. Diana, thank you so much for joining the podcast.
Thank you, Max. Happy to be here.
It's awesome to have you and excited to kind of get into the fire-rated space and other things that you've got going on. But let's start, with you personally, where you grew up, where you went to school, how you made your way to safety, and how you're in our wonderful industry at this point.
Yeah, so I grew up in Manila. I moved here when I was 19, went to school in Loyola Marymount in Los Angeles, and I studied communications and business, which really translates into marketing. And being in Los Angeles, I thought I'd work in the entertainment industry. I've interned at DreamWorks and thought that I would, go down the Jerry Maguire path of being an agent of some sort. And then reality set in, and I had to move back home to the Bay Area and had to look for a job. This came across my lap, and I thought I would do this as a practice interview. My dad and my brother, they're both engineers, so the last thing I want is to work in the construction industry.
Yep.
But it kind of worked out. The starting salary was enough to get me to move out of my parents' house, which is my goal at the time. Started with Safety in 2006, and I've been with them ever since. It'll be 19 years come March. So it's been a great journey.
I love it. So you chased the Hollywood dream for a minute, which was good, and now you're with us in the glass industry. So I love the approach there, and so congrats. And I did not realize. So this is from 2006. I know you had been at the company for a while, so this is a heck of a run for you.
Yes, it has. It has been a heck of a run, and when I think about it, and the people that I've met, like Katie and I, kind of started at the same time, and I just saw her at the last NGA conference, and we always reminisce about our time in the glass industry and how we both grew up in here.
Yep.
And basically our career trajectories, how we thought we wouldn't stay for as long as we have, but we found our place in this industry, and really enjoyed it. And I think a lot of it has to do with the people.
Yep.
Everybody is so embracing. I've had a lot of good, I'd say, mentors along the way. I wouldn't have stayed for as long as I have if I wasn't learning from people, if I wasn't encouraged, if I wasn't challenged, and if I didn't believe in the work.
Right.
So,
Right. And when you mentioned Katie, that's Katie Devlin from the NGA,
yes, Katie Devlin, yeah.
and she just celebrated 20 years, in the
Yes, she
industry. So
did, yeah.
you guys are exactly kind of right at the same time. So, what a class of people. You and Katie coming in at the same time changed our industry. I love it. Very, very cool. So let's talk a little bit about safety. Safety first. There may be some people that kind of live under a rock out there that don't know what safety first does, and everything that you offer, everything you excel in. So could you give kind of a extended elevator pitch? What does safety first do, and everything that you guys offer?
Sure. So what we do, Safety First is it's a vertically integrated, single source, USA-based manufacturer of fire-rated glass and frames. And I know that is a mouthful. And what that basically means is that all of our fire-rated glass, frames, doors, floors, all of it is manufactured out of our facility in Merced. So it's not coming from different facilities all over the world. When you order an assembly from us, it all comes from one place. It's all made there. It's all assembled there. It all goes to you from one facility. And what if you ask me what we excel in, I think it's listening to the whole design team, not just our customer. We know that we have to address the needs of the building team in different ways. Like the architect is probably more concerned about design and performance, the general contractor probably schedule and budget, the glazier probably more into how it's installed,
Right.
the building owner, how can I get the most ROI from my building if I use your product. So a couple of years ago, we introduced our pre-construction services where we talk to the design team early in the process, because fire rated glass is one of those things where it's such a niche product that, the design team, they're tasked to know a whole lot of things, right? And then they come into this situation where they want to use glass, but then it's a fire rated requirement. And what do they do? What are their options? So when they bring us in early into the project, we can advise on how they can turn like what they would probably look at as a challenge into an opportunity, because what they're trying to do really is to bring light, vision, and transparency to a space that otherwise wouldn't have it,
Right.
because of a code requirement. So we can do, we can offer anywhere from design services, we could do code education, we can help establish budget and pricing, and all of it is just designed to make sure that there are no surprises in the end.
Yeah. Nobody likes surprises.
Nobody likes surprises. A GC once told me that a construction project is basically an upward moving train. Is how he describes it. So the less kinks that they have,
Yep.
in the process, the better. So if we're there early and we can advise and turn their challenges into opportunities, it's better for everybody.
I like it. And I like the fact that you are looking at all the different stakeholders, because too many times I see people, we're just going to focus on the architects, or we're just going to focus on the glaziers, and you can't, because they all have, like you laid out beautifully, they all have stakes in this.
Absolutely.
In different priorities. So I like what you've done there. And obviously you've seen some success with that. I think you've probably seen a lot of change from 2006 to now in that fire
Oh
rated
yeah.
space and the growth. What do you think that's been? Has it been the natural light thing? Has it been safety? Has it been the way you guys have improved the product? What do you think's been the driving thing that this growth continues?
I think it's all of it, Max. I think architects are always going to find a way to bring natural light into a space.
Right.
And the way to do that is glass. And not just with fire rated glass. I think they're constantly pushing the envelope on what glass can do. And that's led to a lot of neat innovation, like whether it's high performance glazing, protective glazing, and fire-rated glass for sure. You know, there was a time when fire-rated glass was small door lights and side lights and openings.
Yeah.
Now we're in floors, now we're in walls, now we're in whole facades.
Yeah.
So that's because the architect is pushing the bounds of what our product can do, and which brings a host of other performance that we're required to meet, like, you know, fire ratings with energy performance, with bird friendly, with security, with hurricane, with glass, and with everything else, and it just makes everything, you know, fun and challenging, and you know, we're stumbling on things that we never would have thought we could do because the design community pushes us in that direction.
Sure. Sure. You've come a long way from the 3x33 door lights, you know, the
Yes,
long,
we have.
skinny, because
Yeah.
that's what it was back in
Mm-hmm.
2006, 2007, that sort of thing. So very cool. Very cool. I like the approach. I'm with Diana San Diego, Vice President of Marketing at Safety First. Find them online at safti.com. That's SAFTI.com. What do you think the biggest misconception of fire rated products are that you would love to take in front of this audience and clear up? Is there a big one, or is it a combo? What do you think?
Well, I think it's not so well, not so much a misconception, but I feel like there is still a hesitation to use fire rated glass,
Sure.
probably because they think that it's unknowable, it's hard to understand, it's expensive, it's limited, um, and sometimes they just do their best to VE it because they don't want to deal with it. But
Yeah.
like I said earlier, you know, when you come into a situation where you want to use glass because you want to bring vision and transparency into a space, but you want to meet fire ratings as well, like, you know, don't run away from it. I would say lean into it because there's a design opportunity waiting for you there. The payoff is greater than the hesitation to use the product, and that's why manufacturers like us are here, because we can walk you through the process. We certainly don't expect you to be experts in such a niche product, so we'll help you answer all your questions, whether it's design, budget, code, and get you to a level of comfort so that you don't have to compromise on your design, that there is a solution for you that satisfies all the code requirements and performance requirements. And maybe, you know, there's even applications that you haven't even thought of, and we
Right.
can work together on that and design solutions together.
That works. That works. And you're right. I mean, I love the don't run away, lean into it thing, because I do think we, as an industry, a lot of times allow the architecture community to run away too fast. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And I like what you've created there to be able to say, we can answer your questions. We can overcome your objections. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a big part of what you're doing is creating solutions to overcome those worries. So kudos to you. I like it. I like it. All right. So mixing things up, a fun one. I ask a fun one every month to every guest. Yours is, do you have a to-do list, a want to-do list, or a bucket list? Some people call it. What is on the top of Diana San Diego's bucket list? What do you still want to do in your life?
Oh my gosh. You know, we got married in 2020, right in the middle of the
Oh,
pandemic,
wow. Okay.
and we got pregnant right away. So we never got to go on our honeymoon.
There you
And now
go.
we have a 2-year-old. So I would like to plan and maybe go on a honeymoon one day.
Okay.
So that's still on the agenda. That's still on the bucket list. It's kind of hard to do it right now. We
Sure.
thought about maybe we just bring our son, but that wouldn't be a honeymoon. So maybe when he's a little bit older, maybe we'll do it. Maybe we'll do
Is
it.
there
So
a
that's like,
location in mind? Is there a country or a place you want to go?
you know, we thought about maybe Italy. We threw out Greece, we threw out Spain, but we also threw out Vietnam.
Hmm.
So uh it could be anywhere, Max.
Okay. All right. As
It
long
just
as it's a
depends on where it could be. I mean, I think when we during the pandemic, like we just felt so limited and where we could go that we just started imagining all these places. And then when we got pregnant and had our baby, like, well, I guess, you know, not doing that now. And then everything, all the planning revolved around, you know, our son.
Yep.
So now I feel like we're getting to a place where we could kind of like breathe a little bit.
Yep.
So I don't know, maybe in the next couple of years.
I hope
We'll
so.
finally do
You need
it.
that, and you need that, and I think
Mhm.
that honeymoon will probably come at the right time when your son is maybe 4 or 5 years old and in a little different place. You and the hubby can get away. It'll be great. I love it.
Yeah, yeah, one
Okay,
day.
that works. That works. Very good. Very good. You got something to look forward to. I'm with Diana San Diego, Vice President of Marketing at Safety First. I'm a big fan of you personally. I've always been a big fan. Love
Oh,
what you do
thank
marketing
you.
wise. Love. You're welcome. Love what you do marketing wise. Love the website. But I will admit, my favorite thing is I gave you a heads up. I love the Ask Tim series. I think what you created there with Tim Nass is just fantastic. And it goes to what you were saying earlier about educating the architects and educating people. How did that all come about? And it's funny that I didn't know that at one point you were going to be Jerry Maguire and an agent. And I joked with you that he probably has an agent now because he's like Mr. Viral online. Uh, it,
Ah,
so how did you come up with this, and how Tim take to it? Did he take to it naturally? How did this all come about, the Ask Tim series?
yeah, so it actually came about during the pandemic when we were all just kind of in our own spaces,
Sure.
and we were all getting really good at using Zoom because it was all we had.
Right.
And we were thinking of, fun, creative ways to reach our audience, maybe putting it on social. So we thought about doing like a Q&A series and making it fun. And whenever, within our organization, something comes up like, oh, just ask Tim. So then the Ask Tim series came about, and it started out very low budget. Like we would just, do a recording on Zoom. Um, and then it kind of caught on
Yeah.
in a
Big
weird
time.
way.
Yeah.
So we decided for season two, we'd do a little bit more, production value on it. Then we actually shot it with a camera. People started, asking us questions. We'd go to trade shows and like, oh, it's the Ask Tim guy, and it's really something. And as for working with Tim, he's great. We always joke that he's one take Tim
Oh
because
wow.
literally ask him a question and he'll answer it. Um, he doesn't need a whole lot of preparation because it just comes so naturally to him. And it's been great working with somebody like Tim, and going back to my Jerry Maguire thinking that I would be an agent like Jerry Maguire. Like, he is the perfect client to have because you can throw him into a situation and he will perform.
Love it.
Like he could go into broadcasting and do a killer job, but instead we have him in the glass industry. So, we'll take it.
Yeah, he's a natural. It's a great series, and
Mhm.
hey, kudos to you. I mean, obviously the COVID time was rough, in sales and marketing, and you discovered something that worked, and then went with it. It's fantastic. So kudos to you, and big props to him. He does a super job, and you guys deserve all the credit you get for that. Awesome stuff. Couple more questions for you. GlassBuild's
Sure.
coming up. Safety First is going to be there, booth 29019. I'm not used to these new booth numbers where they're
I
five
know they're
digits.
very long.
It's taken a little. It's Dallas this year. It's a lot getting used to. So 29019. I don't know what it's all going to look like. It's going to be great. Big plans for the booth. What are people going to see when they come by? What's on tap for GlassBuild for Safety First?
Yeah, so we're very excited to go to Dallas. It's a change of scenery for us. What they're going to see, they're going to meet the team.
Yeah,
We always go to Glass Build. It's where our industry gathers, and we believe that. Um, we go see our customers, we go see our vendors, we go see our sales reps. As far as what we're going to show, we've got some new and exciting things happening on the security front. So we'll be showing some of that. We've got new products that go into the building envelope. So we're going to show some of that and talk about that. But really, what I'm also looking forward to is the programming that's going on with this year's Glass Build. We'll be attending the Glazers Executives Forum. That's something that we look forward to every year,
super.
just because it gives us, like on the economics side of things, like forecasts, which we all track. But there's also some good workshops happening around that time, like the one on recruiting and AI.
Yeah.
Like, everybody's concerned about that. But on the show floor too, there's some good topics, and there's some directed towards architects, definitely the codes, definitely something on design, and even like a women's networking. So I'm glad to see that, and I'll definitely be part of it.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, you nailed a lot of it. So obviously glassbuild.com to learn more and a lot of what Diana just said. Free registration, you can use MaxPod, MAXPOD. And one of the things like that you had mentioned, the Glazing Executive Forum, which is amazing, is Stephanie Couch with the AI. We've seen her do it, and just adding that automation to the business and things like that. We all have to stay on top of these things, and so
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you pointed that out. And I'm excited to see what you have in your booth. It's going to be really neat. Will Tim be there? I mean, is he going to be signing autographs? Is it like Tim will be there from 2 to 4 with little 8x10 glossies? What's the deal with that?
We've always thought that we should just do a cutout that says, Ask Tim live.
Yeah.
Yes, he will be there. Yeah, he
Wonderful.
will be
I
there.
look forward to saying hi. I love it. Last up, how do you see the overall market going forward? The rest of this year into 2025. I know, somebody had put on LinkedIn the other day. They hate seeing. I wait until after the election. That's like the word everybody keeps saying. But I know this is such a weird year because of the election, and then into 2025. How are you viewing the economy, the forecast, inside safety? Things looking good, bad? What do you think?
Well, we've been busy. We've been
Good.
busy, which has been great for us. So I would say that we are cautiously optimistic. Like everybody else, we've been tracking all the economic forecasts. We've been tracking, how many projects are going into planning, how many projects are moving from planning to breaking ground, how many projects are getting stuck on, being on hold because everybody's, holding their breath to see if the Fed is going to do a rate cut in September.
Yeah.
So we're just trying to put ourselves in the best position that we can. Because on the flip side of it, there's a lot of good reports out there saying that there is confidence that the Fed will cut rates in September, which would lead to projects being released. There's confidence in that front. There's confidence that projects will move forward from planning to breaking ground. So we just want to put ourselves in the best position to ride that wave, keeping our ear to the ground, being available to architects, general contractors, glaziers, making sure that, if they have questions that we're servicing them, if they have applications that are unique, like that we take a look at it and that we help them solve their design issues. So, just putting ourselves in a good position, I think, because that's all you can do right now is just put your best foot forward and just try to ride that wave when it comes, because, like I said, I'm cautiously optimistic it will come.
Good, good. And it sounds like you've got a little diversity going because you got some new products you're announcing at GlassBuild. And so that helps too when you have something fresh and different as well.
Yeah, it always helps when you've got something that the community, the architectural community wants. And that's why we go to these trade shows, because some of our products, some of the innovations that we've had came from trade shows, because people coming up to us saying like, hey, have you thought of this, or this application, or adding this performance value, or getting this certification. So we like to be where our customers are. I think we missed going to trade shows when we couldn't.
Yep.
Everybody did the best that they could with a virtual trade show, but it's just not the same. Our industry is very relationship focused. So it's great to be at these events and hear from our customers, because they inspire us, they push us to be better, and they help us come up with new products that we launch at these shows.
I love it. You nailed it. This has been great. Fantastic stuff from Diana San Diego, Vice President of Marketing at Safety First. Find them online at safety, SAFTI.com. Also see them at GlassBuild America, Dallas, September 30th to October 2nd, in booth number 29019. I'll get used to this by the time the show comes up. 29019. Diana, thank you so much for doing the show. I can't wait to see you next month in Dallas. It's going to be a great one, and best to you and your family. Can't wait to hear where the honeymoon finally ends up at.
Oh, hope so. Keep my fingers crossed on that one.
Love it. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Max.
Hey glazers and fabricators, FHC, the frameless hardware company, is here to support your business. In addition to offering a complete selection of glazing tools and supplies to get the job done right, we design, engineer, and manufacture a comprehensive offering of frameless shower door systems, heavy glass doors, aluminum entrances and storefronts, architectural railings, transaction and display hardware. Privately owned and American-made, FHC prioritizes you, the customer. You now have a choice. Visit fhc-usa.com.
Okay. Next up, a gentleman that I'm just getting to meet literally right now. So it's pretty exciting for me. Chris Cordle, Chief Operating Officer, COO at the Specialty Fenestration Group, also known as Quick Serve and US Bulletproof. Quickserve.com, usbulletproofing.com, or the websites. They'll be at GlassBuild in booth 47014. And what's fun for me in getting to talk to Chris is coming from the operational side. I normally talk to salespeople, talk to different levels of management. You might be my first COO, Chris. So this is really exciting. 3-4 years of doing this podcast, 55 different episodes, 150 guests, and you might be my first COO. This is pretty cool. Welcome to the podcast.
Fantastic. Thanks for having me.
It's awesome to have you, and looking forward to getting to know you a little bit. So let's just start with that. I'm really curious. Where were you born, grew up, went to school? How did you make your way to Quick Serve and US Bulletproofing and so on?
Yeah, so currently I'm in Texas, but I'm originally from Wisconsin.
Oh, okay.
So Packer fan, grew up in Wisconsin. I have a bachelor's of science in industrial engineering from the UW school up there. And, throughout my career, I've got about 17 years of operations experience, kind of grounded in lean manufacturing and operational excellence. Outside of college, my first job was kind of working in automotive for a company called Oshkosh Corporation Defense.
Yes.
And they built military vehicles. And so I was responsible for increases in production, like installing automated conveyance lines, robotic cells, and then eventually running operations on a couple of their lines there. But that's really where I'm from. From there, I was recruited to Texas to work for a PCC company. And that's where I got into oil and gas and aerospace. And I got into more lean as well.
Okay.
Oshkosh kind of grounded me in, with my degree and implementing assembly lines and things like that. And then from there, I had the opportunity to work for a company called IMI. It's a UK-based company, and they had plants all over the world, building solenoid valves for cars, thousands a day, to building, one big valve a month, for petrochemical plants.
Nice.
3 stories high. Some valves fit in your hand, some valves 3 stories high. So, but I had the opportunity to work, all over the world and see a bunch of different plants. And in that role, I was a regional lean manager
Gotcha.
for the Americas. And
Okay.
so I kind of worked in North and South America on 4 different plants. And then eventually they gave me a Germany plant as well. So I was kind of traveling all over about 50% of the time, working with them to solve their issues. And really, we're just working with general managers and presidents to solve their, top 3 business critical issues. Where SFG came in is, my wife and I, we have 2 girls at the time. Before I started with SFG, we already had 1 girl and we were pregnant with our second.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want to travel as much as what I was doing. Although it was really fun to see different plants and help them execute their lean transformation. And that's really what I love to do, but I also love my family too. So SFG just kind of fell in my lap at the right time. And
Nice.
at the time it was Quick Serve, and took the job there, and I've been there ever since.
Love it.
So it's been about 5 years.
Love it. And a Packer fan in Dallas, you had to enjoy the playoff game last year. The Packers come to town, beat the Cowboys. You probably weren't very popular around the office those couple of days.
Yeah, our site is in Houston, so it
Okay.
wasn't too bad. But yeah, there is a lot of Packer fans down here, though. A lot of people I do move from the cold and enjoy the heat much better than the cold, I guess.
Gotcha, gotcha. And I should have, yeah, I knew you're in Houston, but I got Dallas on the brain, Chris, because of GlassBuild. So excuse me on that. But glad you got some fellow Packer fans around you. It should be a good year for Jordan Love and the gang there. I would assume you're excited about this year's team.
I hope so. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely excited. But
absolutely. Well, okay, back to the serious stuff. If I get to talking on sports, we're never going to get through this. Talk to me about Specialty Fenestration Group because you mentioned at the time you joined, it was just quick serve. Obviously, it's now quick serve and it's U.S. bulletproofing, and it's a more combo organization. What is the setup of the organization and the products and services you offer? I know you're not on the sales side, but I know you can give me kind of basic rundown.
yeah, so the overarching brand is Specialty Fenestration Group, or SFG. Within SFG, there's two separate brands, which are at two separate sites. We have our U.S. bulletproofing brand in Upper Marlboro, Maryland, at that site, that manufacturing site, and then we also have our Quick Serve brand, which is here in Houston, where I'm located. My role as Chief Operating Officer is to oversee the operations at both sites. And so the products that we serve our customers at those two different sites are a couple different types of products. Quick serve, you'll see a lot of our products in like fast food
Hmm.
restaurants. Anytime we're making a transaction, whether it's money or food being passed between the window, and it's that window that opens, we produce those windows here in Houston. And so we're basically the market leader in those windows. We also produce windows like ticket windows where you pass through money
Hmm.
or tickets. Um, and those can range anywhere between level 1 to level 3 bullet resistant products. So like Kyle Fields, Texas A&M,
Yep.
and Ranger Stadium, and different types of soccer field stuff like that. We supply those windows as well. The product lines here at Quick Serve, when I think about the product flow, there's two different value streams is what I would separate them into. There's standard product and then custom product. Our standard product are products that are specified with our customers that we hold in stock. And that's finished goods stock that they can pull from. Then we also have a second value stream, which is custom. So if you would like a sliding window that's a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller than our standard size, we would have to customize it, and so that would be on a separate type of value stream and run separately throughout our plant. So those are the types of products that we make at Quick Serve,
Hmm.
along with like drawers, ticket
Sure.
windows, ladders, electric windows. So we're basically a specialty group there. The U.S. bulletproofing does higher levels of VR.
Okay.
So about 3 years ago, we acquired them under the SFG brand, and in Upper Marlboro, Maryland, is their site. And so they do from level 1 all the way up to level 8 bullet resistant products, windows and doors. Um, they produce the two separate value streams there. It's all custom products, uh, but the raw materials, when you think about it, is pretty much standard. So we pull from our raw materials and then produce custom products for our customers. Uh, but that ranges from level 1 to level 8 bullet resistance to FEBR, forced entry
Gotcha.
resistance, all the way to blast resistance for embassies
Gotcha.
overseas.
Gotcha.
So their projects are much larger, and their protection is much larger as well.
Sure, sure. That makes sense. Okay, so nice. Thank you. That clears that up. And again, people can find this online at Quick Serve. That's QUIKSERV.com and USBulletproofing.com if you want to learn more and also see them at GlassBuild as well. And so the key of having you on is to talk a little bit about things in the manufacturing plant. And for me, You mentioned earlier about the lean manufacturing, and you're basically now my go-to. You're my expert on lean manufacturing. To start me off at the beginning, what is the basis behind it? Because I hear it all the time. People love to talk about how they're lean manufacturing. Can you give a quick definition for those out there, dumb sales type people like me who don't understand what that means?
Yeah, so lean manufacturing, sometimes it gets a bad rap because people implement it inappropriately, or they use the term wrong. But really, lean is about eliminating waste.
Okay.
Uh, and it comes from the Toyota production system. Teiji Ono was the one that originally built the Toyota production system and put in place automated conveyance lines and so on and so forth. It originally comes from that, but eliminating waste is all about, you know, reducing the lead times and making things more efficient within your facility. And that's really what it's about. And
Okay.
to do it successfully, you do it in a way where you're problem solving. And so the way I think about lean is about reducing waste, but it's all about problem solving is the correct way of implementing it. And so when you think of like your value stream, you have an order, and then you ship that product out to the customer. It's an end-to-end view, and that lead time there is your lead time for your customer. From the minute you get an order to the minute you ship it, our goal is to try and reduce that lead time as much as possible so that we can turn over our stock much faster, not have to keep as much on hand, and also be able to service our customers much more. But within that lead time, there's waste.
Mm-hmm.
There's time where, the waste are transportation, it's inventory, it's motion, it's over processing, it's overproduction, and it's defects. And what we do is we problem solve those wastes and eliminate them from our process to reduce that lead time down so that we can service more and more customers a lot faster.
Okay.
And the total goal of a production system is really to meet the customer's expectations at the highest quality and lowest cost. And that's what we've been able to do here at QuickServe over the last 5 years, and also at US Bulletproofing over the course of the last 2.5 years.
Awesome. And how was that process? Because you were obviously hired based on your ability to bring lean in. What was it like implementing it here in the glass industry? And wins, losses? How do you feel about it now looking back? I mean, how was that experience? I got a smile out of you. It had to be something adventurous there.
Yeah, it's always fun because I've been all around the world. The photo behind me is from Italy. We had a plant in Italy when I worked for IMI. I've been all around the world. It's the same issues that you see in every single plant. It's the same waste. It's the same problems, and the implementation is just slightly different, but it's the same stuff. And when I first arrived at QuickServe, part of their problem was expansion. They wanted to expand the facility. And when I first looked at the site, mapped it out, the value stream map, I realized that we don't need expansion. What we need is lean. And so what we did is we solved that issue by using a lean tool. And really where kind of lean gets a bad rap is some people go to sites, they see a fancy tool and it looks really, really cool, like an SQDCP or a Kanban or a BSM. So they go and try and copy and paste that into another site. Well, it may work for a week or two, but it's probably going to go back to where it was before.
Right.
And the reason being is because a part of lean that nobody really talks about is the behaviors around those tools, which makes it's a critical implementation piece. And so when we think about lean, there's a set of tools that you can use as levers to solve problems, and that makes up maybe 20% of what you do. But the other 80% that nobody really talks about is the behaviors around those tools.
Yeah.
So you have to have those in order to sustain the improvement. And so what I did when I first came to QuickServe to get everybody on board with this transformation idea, which is brand new, they've never heard of lean manufacturing before, is I brought them all in, shop floor, office, and I conducted a value stream mapping event where we went through every single step of the process from start to finish, from the minute you get an order to the minute it ships. And we identified the lead times, the waste, everything. We designed a current state of where we're currently at. And then I showed them just by applying simple tools, we could get to a future state that takes our lead time from this down to this.
Right.
So once I did that, and then we were able to develop a plan to implement it, we know then all of a sudden people start getting on board and they get really excited about it. And at that point, when they're excited about it, that's when you got to run. And that's what we did.
Love it. I love it. And I assume when you map something out like that and people see it visually, it probably makes a lot of light bulbs go off, because you could see it and say, oh my gosh, I didn't realize we have all of these unnecessary movements, sort of thing.
Exactly. And the unnecessary movements and waiting times and things like that, that we just deal with on a day-to-day basis in any manufacturing facility, people just they don't think about them. And so we're not thinking right when it comes to improvements. And whereas, a job shop may have one improvement a month that they're trying to do, here at QuickServe and at US Bulletproofing under SFG, we're constantly thinking about how we can improve and get better every single day. So you're comparing 260 improvements for every workday to 12, right?
Yeah.
And so there's just no comparison, and that's how we've been able to see tremendous growth within our factory.
Exciting. Go ahead. Were you about to add something to that?
Yeah, I was going to say the other big thing that I noticed at QuickServe, and I noticed it at a lot of different shops, is that we were batch building a lot of our products. And so when you think about, when a customer orders a product from our finished goods, which is a finished window in a box ready to go, they'll order that product. And in the past, they would have to continue to order that product to get down to reorder point. And somebody in the office would say, yeah, let's go ahead and put an order of 30 out there for that. And so that would be one variant, an order of 30 that would then go to the shop. We would then build 30 doors, 30 frames, 30 pre-assemblies, and then it'd go to an assembly area where you'd set up 30 frames on 30 tables for 3 people.
Yeah.
And it's like we've got all this floor space used up, and we're thinking we need to expand, when in actuality you got 3 people working on the windows. And so it made it very simple for us to visualize that in a value stream mapping event and be able to show, if you got 3 people, all you need is 3 tables. And so that's what we did. So we implemented our first assembly line for our highest run products. At the time, the replenishment cycle was over 30 days. And after we implemented the assembly line, our replenishment cycle went down to 1 day.
Wow.
And we did it through a Kanban system. So instead of building 30 at a time and waiting to get to that point to order those 30, we build one whenever the customer pulls one. And so we implemented a pull system from end to end. And so if a customer orders one variant, we have a Kanban that goes to the start of the line that says, hey, build this. The customer just ordered it today.
Nice.
And they'll build it within a day if we need to. And so that's why we've been able to maintain fantastic standard lead times. I believe we say it's like 3 days or so for us to replenish, or for us to ship out product. And that's just an order ship.
Yeah.
And then we replenish it right away. So we've been able to do that very successfully. And not only that, but we also have pull systems back to our sub-assemblies and our suppliers. And so That way we're not batching through those areas either. And so throughout the whole system, it's like you're pulling a rope. You can't push it, but you can certainly pull it. And that's our whole system is based off our customer demand. So as that goes up, we build more. As it goes down, we build less.
Yeah.
So.
I love it. I love it. This it's eye-opening, and a lot of the things that you say make me feel like it seems like it should be obvious, but we know it's not, just because of human nature. And for me, being outside looking in, a lot of times human nature is build a bigger plant, buy more machines, sort of thing. And you're saying, there's other ways to do this. And so very interesting stuff. I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying this. Chris Cordle, Chief Operating Officer, COO at Specialty Fenestration Group, which is quick serve and USBP. So it's quickserve.com, usbulletproofing.com. They'll also be at GlassBuild in booth 47014. I always mix things up, Chris, in the middle of the podcast with a fun question. Curious on your hobbies. Are you running lean manufacturing in the kitchen? Is that your hobby? Like making sure the dishes get together? What are your hobbies? Seriously, what do you do in your fun time?
So, no, we're not running. We don't have any pull systems or combines at home. However, what I really enjoy doing is just spending time with my girls.
Yep.
And swimming with them, going to their sporting events, gymnastics and such. And I do enjoy the occasional golf game. I like to,
nice.
although I don't get out as much as what I like. I do like golfing. It allows me to kind of clear my head.
Absolutely. What is a long walk spoiled? You're out there and enjoying yourself and on the golf course. And the kid thing, time flies, as you know. And so it's great that you spend time with them, because before you know it, like mine are out of college, and I'd kill to go back to those dance and hockey days that my kids had. And now it's just, again, glad you're enjoying it. Very cool. I like the hobbies. Very cool. A couple more questions for Chris Cordle. Back on the operational thing. I'm very curious on this one, on KPIs. It's another term, that gets bandied about, the same as lean gets bandied about. This one I run into more personally, because in work that I do for clients, I have to, I have my own key performance indicators that I provide and things that I can do. But I'm really curious on your angle, because on the operational thing, I've seen people create KPIs just kind of for stats sake, and not for how do we improve the operation. How do you, which ones do you feel are most meaningful? How do you take on the whole KPI thing?
Yeah, so you really hit on a good point. So you could walk into any manufacturing site, and they're probably going to have some sort of KPIs posted or something.
Sure.
But the one question you could always ask them is, so what?
Right.
I mean,
what are you doing with it?
So what? What are you doing with it? Are we improving it, right? And if they can't articulate quickly, or if they can't tell you if they're on track or off track, maybe they're just tracking something, but there's no target,
right?
Then there's no reason to have it. Take it down, right? And so the main KPIs that I've always used and seen that would be successful is SQDCP, and that's safety, quality, delivery, cost, people development, and product development. Those are the KPIs that I would track to a target. And the key is if you're not hitting that target, that gap needs to get problem solved. And that's where lean comes in again, where you have an issue, you have a problem. You used a lean lever as a lever to solve the issue, and then you have the right behaviors around it. Again, what you stated with the KPIs, it's all about behaviors. And so we really have to focus heavily on the right behaviors surrounding those KPIs. And that's another thing, not only implementing lean in the shop, but by prioritizing the problems and implementation in a way where you're creating a safer environment at both of our facilities, plus having terrific quality. Because if you don't have a safe environment, you can't focus on quality.
Right.
If you don't have good quality, you're not going to deliver on time. And if you don't deliver on time, you can't focus on cost reduction. You have to do those things first before you get to cost. and before you get to product development. And so once you do those things, it just starts operating very nicely. And so once you instill those behaviors, if we do have a miss on delivery or on quality, now all of a sudden you have the right behaviors in place. And instead of one person maybe driving the problem solving, like a president of the company making decisions, now you have like an army of people problem solving within your facility, making a certain degree of, you give them a certain degree of freedom to provide decisions and solve issues. And so that's where lean really comes into play. But I agree. I mean, a lot of times there is, companies or job shops, they have KPIs, but nothing ever gets done.
Yeah,
that's the key. We have to act on it.
yeah, you nailed it, because the thing I was thinking about is I've walked into so many plants with the big pretty boards, sometimes handwritten things, sometimes scoreboard style, and I always wonder, I mean, it looks great, but what are you doing with it? I mean, and especially if it's kind of like an empty calorie, sort of KPI, and you don't have anything attached to it. And I like what you were saying, that one thing attaches to the next, it attaches to the next, attaches to the next, and if you could repeat the acronym again, you had safety. Hit me with that again, because when you hit me with it threw me. SD, go ahead.
It's SQDCP. And so it's safety, quality, delivery, cost, and the P stands for people development and product development.
Gotcha.
And so those are definitely key, and you have to focus on those in order, because if you start focusing on cost reduction, but yet you're not delivering on time, you're just going to create a bigger problem. So you have to kind of go in order.
Good stuff.
Toyota knew this, and they developed that, and they focused on it in order as well, and that's what made them so successful. But a lot of times people focus on the wrong things, and then lean fails and it gets a bad rap. But if you do it correctly, like we've done in both of our sites, you can be extremely successful, as we've shown.
I love it. And speaking of doing it correctly, giving you the opportunity to kind of look back, anything you would have done differently? Because you came from a bunch of different industries, Oshkosh kind of similar to ours in a way, but some of the other things that you did, you come into our industry, now you have this gift of looking back 5 years. Would you have done anything differently?
I think we could move faster.
Wow.
Okay. When I look back on it, each year I come up with a new implementation plan with a value stream map. And so every single year we look at our current state, and then we develop a future state, just like what we did in the beginning. So each year we're continuously improving. And really what I mean by going faster is you focus the behaviors and coaching on the team, and you get them to start implementing these tools and the right behaviors as well. So being faster at coaching the team members in order to do that is definitely something that I would recommend for anybody trying to do this in their site. That way you now have, like I said, an army of people that can just do this day in and day out.
It's impressive, very impressive. I've enjoyed this. I'm with Chris Cordle, Chief Operating Officer, COO over at Specialty Fenestration Group, which is Quick Serve, and you can find them at quickserve.com. And that's just no C in there, QUIKSERV.com, and US Bulletproofing, which is USBP. A lot of folks see our good friend and your coworker Wade Arnold online, always promoting USBP, usbulletproofing.com. You can also see him at GlassBuild in booth 47014. And so for my last question, will we get an appearance from Chris Cordle at GlassBuild? You're an ops guy. Are you going to come up from Houston to Dallas and make an appearance and show the salespeople who's boss?
So we'll see. I always get the invites from the sales team. We'll definitely see if I can make it up there. I do a little bit of travel now, going up to Upper Marlboro, Maryland, at our US Bulletproofing site. So, and, Quick Serve, they're about 5 years into their lean journey.
Right.
And have shown terrific, improvements from their terrific growth. profitable growth from that. USBP is about 2.5 years in, so they're halfway through where quick serve is now, and so there's a lot of coaching and training still happening there. But I'll definitely be open to coming to GlassBuild.
I hope you can be there, and I'd like to be able to say hello to you in person. This has been fun. You told me before we started this is your first podcast. What do you think? You survived it. You did great.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
Okay, so I have the best ops guy in the world telling me the podcast works, so I'm good. I can go enjoy my day now. So Chris, thank you so much for your time. Congrats to everything you've got going on there. Specialty Fenestration Group, quickserve.com, usbulletproofing.com. You guys are rocking out there. Future is bright. Appreciate your time, and again, hope to see you and meet you in person either at GlassBuild or the next time I make my way through Houston. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you. Okay. To wrap things up this month, I wanted to catch up with one of the most popular guests I had all of last year, my good friend Merv Campbell of Omni. He's the general manager there. You can find their products, and we're going to talk about them in a second, at omnicubed.com. That's OMNICUBED.com. You'll see them in booth 16003 at GlassBuild. They have a prominent position there. Merv, thank you so much for jumping back on the podcast.
Not a problem. It's a pleasure to be here as always. Good to see you.
It's great to have you. I mean, we've only known each other now about a year, a little over a year. We met right before GlassBuild last year, and it's been awesome. I love what you do, and the way you guys do it too. But for those who missed the first podcast with us, missed your blog debut this past week on Glass Magazine, or missed you on LinkedIn or social media, tell the audience, what does OmniCubed do? What is OmniCubed all about?
So OmniCubed is a US-based manufacturer of tools for the glass industry. So I'm currently in our conference room here in Shingle Springs, California. We've been going now for 20 plus years. We are heavily involved in material handling, keeping people safe, ergonomics, all the things surrounding safety, also efficiency. So the old proverbial saying, roll when you can, why burn your people out when you can stick it on a cart or a dolly and move heavy material. So that's what we are primarily involved with. We also do various other things in other industries. People may know us from the stone industry, but we are, as we've just said, trying to knock down a wall into glass. I'm very passionate about health and safety. In a previous job back in Northern Ireland, which if you can't tell by now, I am Irish, but living in America, I was a safety coordinator, took it very serious. When others would like mock and make fun, I was the one that was like, hey, maybe get your safety shoes on, get your hard hat on, things like that. So I do appreciate in this company our engineers who really fine tune the tools to keep people safe. They may not actually realize when they're using it, but safety is built into the tool as well as its functionality and what it's supposed to do. Safety is a key aspect. Primary example would be the aqua jaws that we have. Most people will try to lift a heavy piece of material either by their hands or some other weird man-made contraption that they come up with right on the spur of the moment. The aqua jaws actually promote keeping your back straight, lifting with your legs, and actually using the meat in the palm of your hands to lift material while keeping your spine the way it's supposed to be. So even in that one product, we are definitely engaged in safety to a very, very high degree here. So yeah, but we've loved getting into the glass industry, meeting a lot of people. My LinkedIn, each time I either do this podcast with Max or there's a LinkedIn post, there's people, hey, friend connect, and you're like, sweet. So yeah, I hope to see all of you at GlassBuild. Like Max said, we're booth number 16003. We're right beside the main stage. So if you want to come and see our tools, come check us out.
Yeah, it'll be busy. The main stage is busy. Your area is busy. And again, material handling is the thing that I've focused on since I've been talking with you. I just love the fact that you've created and invented tools to make it easier on the people handling, out in the field. And you're not cutting corners, and we're going to talk about the cutting corners things. But first, let's talk about the show. Anything special on display? Like, so, okay, we've heard your pitch. We're going to walk into booth 16003. What are we going to see when we walk upon the OmniCube booth?
You will get to see a lot of nice, shiny tools, which we highly tell people to lift, roll, grab. We're not like when my mother used to take me into fine china shops where she would be like, don't touch the fine china, son, because if you break it, you've got to buy it.
Yep.
My thing is, touch that, grab it, move it, do whatever you want with it. Try it out. That's your time to actually try before you buy. Come in the booth, you'll see all of our carts and dollies. You'll also see our material reinforcement systems that we have for long mirrors or glass shower walls or shower doors. We've also will have the aqua jaws in there. We'll have our stealth grips, which are an 8-inch vacuum cup that you pump down. So that'll be there. There'll be a number of those. We'll have a Pro Stealth seamer, which if people are doing curtain walls, so if they're doing like large glass walls and they're wanting to join them, they can see those there. We'll also have our 90-degree stealth seamer, which is great for the shower walls. If you're doing, like I said, a 90-degree, you can see those. We'll also have 2 new products coming out. One of them is going to be a glass lifter. So it's going to be a ledge that goes on the side of the articulated lifts. So the like of the genie lifts that you would lift up to a second or third story, we're coming out with a product to help guys to keep them safe and enable them to lift multiple pieces of glass up there and not have to rely on renting or purchasing from a rental company something that, hey, it could be broken, it could be damaged, you don't know. You'll be able to lock it in, tighten it up, be secure your material and lift it up. The other one is a cart, a multi-cart, which is going to be able to lift multiple pieces of material on the ground. So you're up in the air, now you're down in the ground, and it's going to be fully collapsible for storage space. So 2 new products, Lord willing, will be at the show. Our engineers are probably freaking out at me saying this, but hey, we're on a time crunch. GlassBuild is coming. Come by the booth. One thing I loved at last year's show was we had a number of people come by the booth with ideas. So we are a product development company. We love to listen to end users. We love to listen to glaziers. And they'll come and say, have you thought of X, Y, and Z? Now, you can't please all of the people all of the time. Right. But you may be able to please some of the people. So again, come by the booth. If you've got ideas, run them by us. Sometimes we hear things of, could you make a remote control cart? We're like, guys, come on. You got to do a little bit of work. You just can't, flake out everywhere. So yeah, that's what we're at. Come by the booth, see the tools. There's going to be a variety of things there. I'll be there. Ryan will be there, and our lead engineer Larry will be there. Pick our brain. If you like it and you want to buy it, we can sign you up right then. We can have it shipped direct to your door. All of that good stuff. So yeah, we're super excited for the show.
Love it. No, it's going to be good, and you have so much to see, and I love the fact that you can try before you buy, sort of thing, and somebody can feel it, hold it, push it, maneuver it, and again, it's all about the safety. And so the last thing I wanted to hit with you on today was that, the cutting of corners when it comes to safety is something that you being an ex-safety coordinator probably drives you crazy. Me being an ex-business owner, I'm still a business owner, but an ex-fabricator owner, drives me crazy. You can't cut corners on safety. And probably the thing that makes me the craziest is that, when I pitch something like it, when I tell somebody, you got to look at OmniCubed, and they say, well, we could just put this together. We could buy the parts at Lowe's, throw a piece of carpet on it, we're good to go. And my point is, your people are way too valuable for you guys to jerry rig something like that versus having something engineered. So the microphone is yours. Why is it worth spending a little bit more? Obviously because of safety, but just handling and efficiency and so on. I'm going on and on. Merv, you're the expert.
I think there's a couple of aspects in that regard. First of all, I always ask the employer, how much are your people worth? As an employee, I have 4 great owners here of this company who pride themselves in the well-being of the people here. So when it comes to health and safety, there's no expense spared. And I think that is a question I always ask people. If you're telling them, go to Lowe's, buy all this stuff, throw it together, you're telling your people, to be honest, you're not really that valuable to me, because you're supplying them with tools that they're not purposely made for what you needed to be done. Right. Second of all, as an employee, I would look at that employer and go, they don't seem to really care too much about me. And I think we need to get into a culture where our workplaces are basically an extension of our families. So as a parent, I'm always going to try to look after my kids and, provide them with a helmet when they ride their bike. I'm not sticking a cardboard box over their head and saying, you'll be fine, just go out there, you'll be all right. Same with my daughter, who likes to be on a skateboard. I'll not just, stick a rag over her elbow and say, you'll be all right, you'll be grand. No, you go and you buy the best for your kids to keep them safe. Same should be in the workplace. We are seeing a real downturn in being able to not only get employees, but keep employees.
Yeah.
And that's something that we pride ourselves here. We have 4 values that we look at and we address each and every day. And you want to maintain a family dynamic. You want to maintain a safe dynamic, that when the employee comes in, they're not kind of freaking out. Am I going to go home to my family the way I've come in? Which actually, peace of mind then makes them more productive, which is a key factor. We're losing employees, productivity is going down. It can actually come down to safety. If we don't care, that comes across. It can also come across in our work. Our best marketing is what people say about us.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, I think you've hit on something that, the overriding, it's a culture thing, and we all talk about, the guest right before you, Chris Cordle from US Bulletproof and QuickServe Specialty Fenestration Group, talked about, the operational side of things. And for me, culture, the better the culture, the better the operation. And you made a good point of, you got to give them the good tools. You got to give them things that they can work off of, that they feel comfortable with. So I'm a safety guy. I just think that, and the one thing that people who follow my blog, it drives me crazy, is when I watch these shows on HGTV and no one's wearing PPE. I watched it the other day, and I had to pause it because they were bringing in granite, and I know that you handle, stone, OmniCube is stone. It was not an OmniCubed, cart. So the thing looked like it was going to crack in half any moment as it was bumping along the road. And none of these guys are wearing anything to protect them. And it makes me nuts. It makes me nuts. And that's why I think I've become a kinship with you, because we're both kind of preaching with this. So I love what you have going on at OmniCube. Again, we've been on for a while, and I forgot to reintroduce. I've got Merv Campbell from OmniCubed with me, general manager. You can see them online at omnicubed.com, OMNICUBED.com. GlassBuild booth 16003, which will be right by the main stage, and you can't miss the equipment. Any final words? You excited for the show?
Oh, I'm super excited. Yeah, this will be our 3rd year of going, and each year it's gradually built. And the first year, you don't really know what to expect. Second year, we kind of had an inclination, and then this year it's like, woohoo, bring it on. I love networking with people. Last year we started to get that snowball rolling. It's getting bigger. people are saying, "Oh, stop by the booth to say hello." I'm like, "Great, that's what we want." It's one thing I do love about the glass industry is it's a very family cultured relationships with people. I have to say, like seeing how people like just give away information. There's no like, this is how I do it, but no one else is ever going to know. And everyone, it's quite funny to watch, but everyone's happy when someone else does a good job and they commend them and they say, "Hey, that looks really good. Well done." Like,
Yeah.
Wow, that's what we all want to be a part of. That's so cool. So super excited. Can't wait for it. There are people that I'm looking forward to seeing, and just, getting the tools out there to keep people safe, day by day, doing their job every day with all their faculties about them, because you've only got one back. My mom has had a bad back pretty much all my life, and I just see how debilitating that is.
Yeah.
And it's anything you can do to help even just one person is such a wonderful thing. And yeah, come by and see us, talk to us. I'm an Irishman. I like a good yarn. So yeah, it'll be good.
Love it. And you make it best practices. It is something this industry loves. Best practices. People love to make sure we're all doing the right thing, because at the end of the day, we do. If there's a bad install out there, the entire industry takes a hit.
Oh yeah.
And that's why, people don't want that to happen. If there's a big, a significant job out there and it starts to fall apart and looks bad, it's the glass industry that takes a hit,
Exactly.
not so-and-so's glass company. We all go down for that. So I think that's why we have that attitude. But I cannot wait to see you. Merv Campbell, OmniCubed. Again, check them out at omnicubed.com. OMNICUBED, OmniCubed.com. You'll see the glass handlers, you'll see the material handlers, the different tools, everything online there. It's a great company. Plus, Merv made his debut on glassmagazine.com this week with his blog, again talking safety. Very cool.
Safety.
I love it. I will see you, my friend, very, very soon at GlassBuild. Thank you so much for doing the show.
Yes, you will. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Max. Take care.
Thank you, sir.
Cheerio. Bye-bye.
Okay. Thank you to Diana, to Chris, to Merv. A lot of fun today. Appreciate that. Thank you to FHC as the sponsor of this episode. FHC is all in for GlassBuild in Dallas. You know that is coming up September 30th to October 2nd. See the latest innovations of glass railings and glass entrances, frameless shower doors, tools for the glazier, saving time and money. There's only one place to be. See FHC at 45012 on the floor. 45012. New floor settings this year. Lots of numbers, but you'll find them because they're right at the main entrance. Product launches, hands-on demos, lots of people there to help you. Check them out at 45012 FHC. Also FHC-USA.com online. Thank you to them for sponsoring this podcast. All right, quick TV notes. Not a lot. For some reason, lots of things going on in my nutty world, and I'm not watching as much for a myriad of reasons. But I did start the Pete Rose documentary, Charlie Hustle, on HBO. First 2 episodes have been fantastic. So if you like baseball, especially 70s and 80s, Pete Rose, that whole scenario, really, really great filmmaking documentary there. 2 of the 4 episodes for me in the can, really well done. And then staying on sports, a documentary coming out from Netflix later in the month called Mr. McMahon. It is, I believe, a 9-part series, possibly, or 6-part series from Netflix on Vince McMahon, who was the owner and creator of the World Wrestling Federation and World Wrestling Entertainment, WWE. That should be pretty good because his life has been interesting. So if you're a pro wrestling person, you might get into that. Bill Simmons is behind that documentary, and he's one of the kings of sports documentaries. So high hopes there. So that's this TV side. Otherwise, I'm excited. Looking forward to GlassBuild. I have one more podcast before GlassBuild. Hope you're signing up at glassbuild.com. I look forward to seeing you in Dallas. If you have any questions, please get with me. Thank you so much for listening, watching the podcast. Really appreciate the support, and we will see you next time.
Oh, the music is stopped.